Run It Studios is the home of the Run Radio podcast and runradio.net, a podcast and station about the relentless, resilient, and innovative types, inspiring strides in life, business, and beyond. Welcome back to the Run Radio podcast. My name's Trina Wilcox, and Run Radio, Run It Studios, we're all about doing things with grit, resilience, tenacity, and that is something my guest, Kijuan Amey, knows all about. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Trina. I really do appreciate it.
Let's talk a little bit about your journey through resilience. It seems like I've read a little bit about your background and everything, so you kind of were no stranger to doing hard things, but it seems like hard things just kept coming for you. So tell me the story.
Yeah, so with me growing up, I'm originally from Durham, North Carolina. Uh, that's a hard place to grow up in just in itself, but even still, I did, and I was able to do it successfully, shall I say. The biggest part of me is I was a competitor. I've been playing sports since I was 5.
Mm,
So I started out bowling, and I don't just mean for fun, like you go have fun with your friends type stuff. I mean, I was a USBC sanctioned bowler, which USBC stands for the United States Bowling Congress. So I could travel all over the nation and compete in tournaments as a youth. And so there were different aspects of that growing up when I was doing that as a child. And about the age of 10, I started playing basketball because I felt like I was tall enough. But really, I was trying to follow my older brother's footsteps and played basketball. Didn't really like it. I like pick up ball better. And then also after that, when I got into middle school, I started playing football and running track.
mm.
And so these things are great team sports, but they also provide you with discipline because you have to be very disciplined in order to make these teams. These are not just everybody gets on the team, have fun, go ahead. I've been cut off of a team before,
Yeah.
so I know what that feeling is like, and I also know what it feels like to never be cut off a team again because I put in the work to make sure I did not have that happen again. And so, uh, in my growing up, I have six total of us. That includes mom and dad's side. But what I grew up with in my household, it was three, and then a late addition of a
Yeah.
number four when my mother got married. And so the resilience in the household was serious too. It was almost like every man for themselves.
Yeah.
Who's gonna get mom's attention today? So so that's part of it as well. And then I would later go on into the after my high school. After I graduated high school, I would later go on into the Air Force. And we all know military, you have to have resiliency. And that was like really, really kicked in and where I really truly understood what resiliency was. I knew that I had it, I just didn't know what it was. Like I wasn't like sure of the definition. I wasn't sure of what it really meant until I got older. And so that's kind of where it really sat in for me.
So how long did you serve? And thank you,
I
by the way.
s- Yeah, no problem. I served 10 years, 3 months, and 17 days, but I'm not counting.
But you're not counting. So it was career for you.
That's what I was going for. Yes, that's what
Yeah.
I was going for.
And so, what other things were going on in your life simultaneously that made you you?
Let's see. So at the time that I was in the military, I had well, first off, I did 4 years active, and then I would cross over to do my latter 6 years in the reserves
Hmm.
at the same base, which was Seymour Johnson Air Force Base in Goldsboro, North Carolina. But had a well, basically full time, you could say entrepreneurial spirit, where I had my own business called Kiwi Enterprise. And with that business, I did website design and management,
Hmm.
social media marketing, and photography.
Oh wow, all the things.
Yeah. And it was basically to help small businesses, get their stuff up and run like a website. They don't know how to do social media. And again, this is back in 2017, so everybody's still getting used to it.
Right.
That they're having to pivot to these things to be seen, basically, and
Right.
be discovered. And so I'm that guy who was like, hey, if you really want to be seen and you really want to make some money, you probably want to get this done.
Yeah.
And so I not only had that going, but I was going to school full time, going to college to get a degree in computer information systems.
That's
And
my degree.
really
Yes.
awesome. So my specialization was in systems analysis and integration. I'm
Okay.
not sure if you had a specialization.
We had 3 tracks. I'm like 1 credit or like 1 class away from a double major in that major, but I didn't want to
Yeah.
be in school that long, so I went with end user support only.
Okay, okay, got it.
Yep.
So yeah, that was what I was studying for, and I had 1 year left. I was a senior, and I had 1 year left on my degree, so that I could get my bachelor's and commission to become an officer in the military, and what I call the world's greatest air force.
Oh,
And so I was going to go from being an in-flight refueling specialist, where you refuel planes in midair, to now flying those planes where you're refueling planes in midair. That
oh.
was my goal. So yeah, that was what I was looking to do. So yeah.
So you left school to go pursue that completely?
No, I needed my degree in order to commission. So
Oh,
you
I
have to have
see.
a bachelor's in order to be an officer in the military.
Okay. So
Mhm.
did you achieve all of that?
I did not. It
What
was cut short due to my motorcycle accident, May 5th, 2017.
tell me about that.
Absolutely. So May 5th, 2017, like I told you guys, uh, what some may call Cinco de Mayo, I
Yeah.
call my new journey,
Oh.
because this is where everything would change for me. For those who could see, I am wearing glasses, nice, really nice sunshades, and yeah, they're about $200, but it's not because I'm trying to be cool. I mean,
Right.
that's part of the look, but the main side is I'm trying to block, light from coming in, because I am blind. I'm 100% blind from my
Good.
accident, and so I had a motorcycle accident where a car would pull out in front of me, and literally the next thing I know, I'm waking up in a hospital a month and a day later. Uh, so at UNC Hospital in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, where I had to be life flighted. And I was in a medically induced coma due to all the countless surgeries that I had to do, literally from head all the way down to my right foot, literally. So I have two metal plates in my head. Uh, I had a broken jaw and a lot of chipped and cracked teeth on the right side of my face. That was probably the cheapest bill I had, was my dental bill, the $20,000 there. Um, and I would, be remiss if I didn't talk about the traumatic brain injury that I suffered, because it was very severe.
Yeah.
And then I also suffer from PTSD. It's not as bad as it used to be, because I did go through mental therapy for that, and I still am.
Yeah.
So I do recommend, highly, highly recommend mental therapy. And then moving down to my torso, my spine is medically infused with two rods and 12 screws from L4 to T2, for those who know those medical terms. So my left hip has some it has some pains on certain days that I'm like, okay, you are still injured.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where you just remember that it's still injured, because some days it's fine, and then
Yeah.
other days you're like, oh, you did get injured.
Yeah.
And then there's an incision to remind me over there.
Yeah.
My On my right leg, I broke my femur, which is the largest bone in your body, and I'm pretty sure they replaced that with metal as well. My left leg, I broke my tibia, and I believe that's the shin of your right leg, or your leg, and that's a whole rod, literally from knee all the way down to ankle. And my right leg fractured my fibia, and I have a screw in my right foot.
They
So
just
literally
scooped
from
you
head,
up
yeah,
and put
yeah,
you back together with metal fingers.
Mr. Potato Head, hello.
Oh my goodness. So obviously, resilience comes into play here.
Yep.
How long did it take you to get to the point where you're like, this is what I've got to deal with?
It did take me a little while. I mean, granted, when I like I told you in the hospital, when I first woke up June 2017, I had no clue where I even was.
Yeah.
I thought I was in my bedroom,
Mm.
and which made it kind of weird because I heard my mom and my ex-girlfriend in there talking. I'm like, I know my girlfriend would be in here, but what the heck is my mom doing here? You know, so that's what I'm thinking the whole time, and I'm just listening to what they're talking about, and they're talking about a motorcycle accident. I'm like, oh wait, that just got serious. Who got in a motorcycle accident? Because I had no clue.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm just listening and I never hear a name. And so now I want to go and say something. So I try to I open my eyes only not to be able to see anything.
Oh,
And I'm like, whoa, well, wait a minute. What just happened? So I do one of those really hard blinks, like you're trying to clear your vision
yeah.
and reopen my eyes, and it did nothing. And I'm
Oh,
like, okay, now I need to say something because I'm about to panic.
yeah. Yeah.
And so I go to open my mouth, only to not be able to because my jaw is wired shut due
Oh
to it
my
being broken.
goodness.
You want to talk about a nightmare on Elm Street?
Oh my gosh. I can't
Yeah.
even.
And I hadn't even discovered the fact that I couldn't smell yet. I haven't discovered that because you don't really pay attention to that unless a foul odor is
Yeah.
around, or some amazing aroma just
Yeah.
comes. And so I'm not even thinking about that. All I'm thinking about is I can't see or talk right now. What is going on? And so they finally notice me moving and trying to make noises, and they come over to each side of my bed. And my mom's trying her hardest to figure out what I'm saying. I'm not making sense because I'm really panicking and I'm trying to calm down,
Sure.
and she hands me, hear me clearly, she hands me a notepad and a pen. And I gave her the meanest side eye you could ever give somebody. What did you just hand me? You
Yeah.
know I can't see. I'm like, I've been in this hospital bed for over a month. I know I can't see.
Did she not
Anyway,
realize that?
oh, she knew. She knew.
She,
The doctors, of course, told her, all the different things that were going on with me and stuff. And because they had to do, surgeries around my face and stuff. So they told her everything that they discovered, you know. And so she knew. And
Mm,
so anyway, I get the notepad and I'm like, whatever, I'll just take it and I start writing and try not to write over top of what I already wrote and
sure.
hand it back to her. And I was like, what is this motorcycle accident dream you guys keep talking about? She's like, that's not a dream. That was
Oh,
you. And I was like, what? It was like one of those scenes out of a movie. What?
yeah.
I mean, of course it wasn't funny at the time, but I can make jokes about it now. Because I didn't talk for the rest of that day. And when I say talk, I didn't interact, I didn't write anything. I mean, I wasn't even looking at the door when somebody came in. I don't even remember what happened for the rest of that day.
Mm,
All I know is that she gave me that response, and I was like, what just happened? And so me, trying to figure out what was going to happen next was mainly that question, what happened?
yeah.
And so she tells me, a guy pulled out in front of me. I said, it wasn't my fault, because that's all I kept thinking. Well, what did
Mhm.
I do wrong? What did I do
Yeah.
wrong? Like, and I was a very safe rider. I wasn't into all the tricks and all the stunts you see and hear people do. I don't ride in between cars. I don't do wheelies, none of that crazy stuff that you've ever heard about on a bike. I'm not doing it because first off, I'm afraid to, and secondly, nobody's gonna make a fool of me. Okay, because I am not trying to get made a fool of, and I cherish my life.
Yeah.
So she told me what happened, and then life was like, wow. But that sucks. How
Yeah.
come he didn't see me? Where did this happen? And now the questions are flooding her. And she's like, slow down. Like, I'm like, no, I want to know. And so I'm writing and I'm writing and I'm writing and I'm writing all these questions. And I'm trying to get her to understand the murmurs of what I'm saying too. Like, so I try to like space them out and like different things like that. But anyway, once I get all the backstory, I was like, okay, this sucks.
Mm,
That was the first thing. This sucks. It really does. And I didn't know what to do at first. But the more people kept coming around, which I will advocate for on anybody's behalf. If you have a friend or family or anybody that you're associated with that goes through something very traumatic and they're stuck in the hospital, go see them because that helps.
Yeah.
So, especially me, because I couldn't just get up and go anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the beautiful thing, the two beautiful things that were happening in the hospital was people were coming to see me and they would take me outside into the botanical garden.
Oh, yeah.
Those were the two most beautiful things that would happen to me. I would get all that sun exposure and I'm like, oh, this feels so amazing.
Yes. Yes.
When you've been trapped in a hospital for so long and
Mhm.
indoors, your body is craving that vitamin D. Like just like for those who know Superman, whenever he's getting beat up really badly, what's the first thing he do? He takes off towards the sun to get
Mhm.
his energy. We need that as humans.
For
That is
sure.
a that actually livens us back up.
Yeah.
And so those were the two main things that really, helped me out so tremendously. But then, like I told you, I'm a competitor. I've been playing sports since I was 5. That kicked in.
Yeah.
And now it's time to get back up on my feet because I had to learn how to walk again.
Yeah.
I got to get back up on my feet. I'm tired of people moving me around,
Yeah.
literally sliding my bed pad, not
Yeah.
pan, the pad of my bed around because I can't just get up.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I don't like that. I
Mhm.
want I want to move myself.
Right.
So yeah.
I like that you say you may have lost your sight, but you didn't lose your vision. When did that phrase come to you?
Actually, it came to me when I was talking to somebody at my church.
Yeah.
It was after a rehearsal, a choir rehearsal. I'm a musician, by the way. I play the drums at
Mhm.
my church. And so um after rehearsal, I was just doing something. I was walking around doing something in church, and then this person was just watching me. And they came up to me and stopped me. They're like, Key, because a lot of people call me Key. I said, hey Key, how do you do it? It's like, do what? It was like you keep going. You don't I see you smiling. Like you don't just let this thing beat you down. You're really trying to keep moving as if nothing happened. I was like, well, the one thing that I thought about was I might have lost my sight, but I didn't lose my vision. And when she heard me say that, she broke out in tears,
Oh,
like instantly.
yeah.
And I was like, the vision was always to help other people. So if I my goal is to try to find ways to help people.
Okay.
It could be ministering through music. It could be speaking as a mentor. It could be motivational speaking. It could
Yeah.
be podcast interviews. It could be throwing out nuggets that could stick with somebody forever.
Mhm.
My job is to help other people. It was that way in the military. It was that way when I was on my team because I was helping my other teammates out by doing my job. So I've always wanted to help other people, and that's what that visional statement is about.
When you also decided to put everything into a book, let's talk about writing. How long have you been writing? And when did you decide you're going to take on the task of a whole book?
uh that's an interesting topic because I didn't want to write a book.
Yeah.
Everybody else wanted me to write one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't want to become a motivational speaker. Everybody else wanted me to become one. And I'm like, I don't want to speak to people.
Yeah.
and
Really?
and I am so serious. I used to be that guy, like I can go to a family cookout and be the most liveliest person out there.
Mhm.
But when it comes to speaking in front of other people, I don't want nothing to do with it until
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Until now, like that accident did something to me. It really did change me in a different way. And so I was, talking to someone like I was mentioning, like mentoring and stuff. But this was just my friend, and my best friend, God rest his soul. He passed away a couple years ago.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And yeah, he had type 1 diabetes. So he passed away due to complications. And so him and I were talking. This was like he as soon as he heard about my accident. and that I was back home because he hadn't known yet. He wasn't really on connected to me on social media like that. And so once he found out, he took off. He was like, "Dude, I'm on my way. As soon as I can, I'm headed to your house." And I was like, "Okay, cool." I'll open the door. And he didn't know I was home alone. He thought, because he heard I lost my sight and all this stuff, and that I've been in an accident, he was thinking the worst. And so he gets to the house, he's knocking on the door. I'm like, "Who is it?" And he's like, "Sam." I said, "Okay." And I opened that door. And he's like, What? Wait a minute. You here by yourself?"
Ah,
I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Dude, I expected somebody to be helping you, man." He's like, "Ah." I was like, "I got this." Nah, I'm good.
yeah,
Like you're just now figuring out about my accident. I've been dealing with this for a little while now.
yeah, yeah,
And I was able to get around my house. I knew that house like the back of my hand because I grew up in it. It was my grandmother's house.
yeah.
And so, anywho, we're talking, and as we're sitting there talking, he was, going talking about his situations that he had been dealing with, the trials and tribulations he had been going through. And he was like, "Man, how do you do it?" And I started talking about my story like we're talking right now.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Man, you're like my superhero."
Uh-huh.
And I was like, "I've never been called a superhero before, but I appreciate it."
Yeah.
I really didn't know how to take it.
Yeah.
And so he's like, "Man, is there? We got to figure out how to get you like on stages and write a book or something." I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, time out, pump the brakes. What are you talking about?"
Calm down.
Yeah, yeah, calm down, take it easy. And so he says this, and I'm thinking about it while he's talking because he can talk too. Uh, he says this, and I'm like, "Huh, that's not really a bad idea." The book thing. I don't know about this whole speaking part, but
Right.
you know,
Right.
and so I'm just sitting there thinking it and plotting and we're talking and I mean just all these different things start flooding my mind. And so time goes on. He hasn't passed away yet, but I had started thinking about writing the book, like what I want it to sound like, what I want it to feel like, I'm putting my body and my mind into the book right now. I haven't even
Right.
started writing it physically,
Okay.
but I'm getting myself prepped because I went to a self-publishing school
Oh, okay.
and to understand how to write because
Yeah.
I didn't know
Yeah.
I'm not an author. I didn't go to school for none of this stuff, publisher and journalism. I didn't go to school for none of that. I went to school for computer information systems. I love computers. So that was my thought. Um, so how do I turn my computer brain into a writer's brain,
Mhm.
And that's what I did. I went to the self-publishing school and they gave me a one-on-one coach to help me with, learning how to write a book, learning like how to come up with the chapters of the title or the titles and all that stuff and just all the different things. Like, how do you want your book to feel? How do you want it to sound? How do you want it to come across to people? And all these things. I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
You guys got this thing down to a science.
And that's what's great is that we have access to do and be so many things without the permission of a diploma these days. And I love that.
Right.
And want you to tell me what name you decided on for your book.
Absolutely. It's called Don't Focus on Why Me from Motorcycle Accident to Miracle.
All right. And
Yeah.
why did that particular title, Don't Focus on Why Me, resonate with you?
Well, the gist of it came from I wanted to be connected to everyone that reads this
Mhm.
book. Well, as soon as you see the title, we're now connected. And you
Mhm.
know why? Because every time something tragic or we feel it's tragic, we question why me.
For sure.
So if you're like, wait, why what do you mean don't focus on that? And I'm like, because there are ways out of everything. If you're still here, you have a purpose to still be here.
Mm.
If you're still here, there's reasoning. If you're still here, it's now time for you to figure out what that is.
Mhm.
And so that's what I did. And that's what I'm still doing.
Yeah.
And so the don't focus part came in because I did a motivational speaking topic back in 2019, and it was called "Why Not Me?"
Mhm.
And everybody was like, "Ooh, I like that," and I was like, "Yeah." The "Why Not Me" came in after I was questioning all of the why me's, and I'm a faith believer, and so I was in the hospital one day, and I'm just questioning, why did this have to happen to me? I don't want this to happen to me. I can't see. I can't go back to my job or none of that. And so
Mhm.
then I hear that still voice that says, "Well, why not you?" And I said, "Wait a minute. I'm in this room by myself. Who was that?" And I said, "Oh, I know that voice. Hold on." And sure enough, when I heard that, he started bringing back to my memory the things that I do without sight. He's
Oh,
like, people
goodness.
always tell you how you got your eyes closed when you're playing the drums at church. People always talk about you doing this. You used to play hide and seek outside, and you were the best at it at night. You, and all these different memories he's bringing to my memory.
Right.
I'm like, wow, okay, no more pity party. Time to figure it out.
Dang.
So don't focus on it. Figure
Yeah.
out why not you?
Yeah.
Who better than you?
That is encouraging because I know you know the dark days come, no
Oh
matter
yeah.
what, you still have days. And to
Hmm.
be able to turn that around with something like that is very empowering. Are you able to do that real quickly? How long does a bad spell last for you? Or does it just depend on what sets you off in the moment? Or do you never have those? Which I mean, you're human, so I expect.
There you go. That
Yeah.
that's the key word. We're human.
Yes.
We have to give ourselves grace.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because I remember the days I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I was putting all of this on me,
Yeah.
as if I did something wrong. I never should have bought that bike. Everybody was
Uh,
telling me I should have never bought. I should have just went. And I'm putting all this stuff on me. Negativity is
yeah.
getting thrown my way by me, nobody else.
Yeah.
And so that's why I say we have to give ourselves grace. And the biggest thing that came to me was, well, if I'm going through these spells, what do I do to get out of it?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I told you, I love to play the drums. I've been playing since I was 7. I have a drum set literally in my bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how much I love it. It's in my room.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so if I am ever, at home alone or having the free time, it's not too late at night because I do, recognize my neighbors. um and I will jump on that sucker and just well on it for like an hour.
Yeah.
I'm tearing it apart and listening to different music to play to. And the reason I do that is for release.
Mm-hmm.
We have to have a way of release.
Absolutely.
Um, Music therapy, I do that. I'm actually getting
Mm-hmm.
ready to go to that today. I'm gonna do
Good.
music therapy today, and I've learned how to play the piano as well.
Well, good.
So I'm learning that too. I'm also a singer. I love singing. When
Yeah.
I get a chance, I like singing in the background more than I do in the front. But either
Yeah.
way, I can do it.
Yeah.
But just different things. I would say that, like I mentioned earlier, family and friends, if you have those that are really near and dear to your heart that you can hang on to, and just so that you're not alone. I mean, there are times you want to be alone. I get it because I'm that guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not an introvert, to say the least, but I do like having my peace of mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I will sit in my room in silence. Silence. I don't want to hear anything.
Hmm.
And when something disturbs it, I'm like,
Yeah.
what is that? You're disturbing my peace.
Yeah.
I've even had like upset moments with the wind, okay? I'm not even
I like
fly. I
that.
wish I was telling a lie when I said that. I've had some days where there was like last week we had a really bad wind because a storm was coming through
Yeah,
and it was really bad. I
yeah.
mean, to the point where I felt like the house was like
Mhm.
leaning and then it comes straight back up. Like that's how bad it was. And so I'm like trying to take a nap because I had a Zoom call that night and it kept interrupting my nap. Oh, I'm upset.
I hear you. I completely get it. Thank you so much for spending time and sharing your story. Tell
Yeah.
people where they can go to learn more about you and find your book.
Absolutely. So you guys can check me out on my website, amymotivation.com. That is again, Amy Motivation, AMEY dot motivation.com. And you can find all of my social media platforms embedded in the website, as well as a link to the book. And for those who may want to book me for speaking engagement, there is a link on there as well for that.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Looking forward to you coming back if you have another booking you or something else you want to share.
Awesome. Yeah, I appreciate it again, Trina. I really do.
Thank you. Be sure you link over and watch and listen on any platform you prefer from runradio.net.